Hey, what's up you guys? Bloodee Jacob here to finally bring you my top TV shows of 2019.
My turn.
Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel here.
Bloodee Jacob, your sexy, awesome, exclusive content. Get a part of this. Subscribe to the little butt down there.
That's right, I know this video is a good bit late, but it actually took me a little bit longer than it did with my top movies of the year to sort of get together and figure out exactly where I was going to put things and sort some things out that really weren't on the list and why. Because I love film, I love TV, but you guys know how much my favorite TV shows mean to me if you watch my channel at all. But this isn't an all-time list. This is talking about TV shows that specifically aired in 2019, okay? So we're not talking about the shows as a whole, we're talking about their individual seasons that aired during the year of 2019. So as long as that is understood, we'll continue into this video. But speaking of that, if it was just about shows I happened to watch in 2019, well, first off, Buffy would very quickly become number one automatically. Finally getting through all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's by far one of my favorite shows of all time now, no matter how late I am to the party. It's a big part of me now. I paid a decent bit of money for a really nice looking poster I have over there that I won't adjust my webcam for right now. But love Buffy, so that'd be an automatic number one. I am currently watching the American CFX series on Amazon Prime. I'm about 3-4 seasons into that. That'd be a pretty high ranking one. So again, this is about shows that had current seasons airing this year and kind of comparing the current seasons and what came out on top for the year of 2019. And before we get into the actual list, I'm only doing about 5 this year. 5 or 6, I guess, which is why the title of the video will just be Bloodee Jacob's Top TV of 2019, not a specific number, because there are a couple additions I wanted to include, and I didn't really want to make it like an odd number. Bloodee Jacob's Top 6 of 2019, Top 7 of 2019. And, before I had done like Top 10 and a list of honorable mentions, but I shrunk it down. It's like 5 or 6 because I'm not gonna say it was a bad year for TV. There were still shows I was really into that were airing, but there were a couple ones that sort of lost my interest. One or so I dropped, so I just didn't have as many currently airing this year that I was really that excited to talk about, I'll be honest. But there's still definitely some, and I did want to get into those. And before we really get to those, there are some honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is going to be Family Guy, season 18, or you could say back half of season 17 and season 18 going right now. Family Guy would actually be on the list. I've loved Family Guy ever since I was in school. I was born in '96, so I kind of grew up with it in a way. I think Peter Griffin's one of the greatest cartoon characters ever, next to Patrick Star. I absolutely love Family Guy, and I think season 18's been pretty good. But it's just weird to compare a show like Family Guy, to dramas and live action stuff. So I can't really count it the way I could others. It's just kind of a bit too odd of a comparison. Just different mediums, I guess you could say, maybe. But yeah, and in terms of the rest of the honorable mentions, I do want to mention The Witcher, which just came out in December. I'm not through the whole show yet. Not through complete lack of interest, but more so because I'm still watching a shit ton in my free time right now. So I'm about 4 episodes into it, and I do really like it. Henry Cavill is doing a splendid job. There are parts of the story I'm not as interested in. I don't consider the Yennefer stuff all that compelling to me at the moment, but I will watch the rest of the show at some point for sure. And the production value is really nice. Again, Henry Cavill, some really good performances in it as well besides him so far. And the effects and everything I like quite a bit. So I wanted to mention The Witcher, of course, and also I gotta talk about Netflix's The Order, which I don't think many people watched on the other end of it. But one that's worth checking out for sure. Well, mainly for me because it happened to feature Catherine Isabelle in a pretty prominent role. If you guys didn't know, Catherine Isabelle is my all-time favorite actress. I've had the pleasure of meeting her before a couple years ago. She's by far my favorite actress in the horror genre, and outside of that too, she is incredible. I really liked her role in the show, and she kind of becomes more. She gets more screen time as the season goes along. While I didn't think the rest of the cast was as consistently strong, there are a few like younger supporting characters I don't really think hold up too well. But the story, it moved at a good pace. The season didn't really drag or anything. It didn't have too many episodes. I was intrigued, and I am glad it's getting a season 2. I do want to see more. So yeah, The Order is another one. And again, it's hard to decide where honorable mentions ends and where it begins, or where it begins and where it ends. So these next two shows were pretty much a toss-up to me between like number 5 and number 6, if you want to order it that way. But I do want to talk about What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series on Netflix, which has season 2 coming out in April this year, which I'm very excited for. This is a show that me and my fiance were watching together week to week. She had just shown me the Taika Waititi film, and I guess I love the show even more. And because it's a show, it just had kind of more time to organically develop, so you get to spend more time with these versions of the characters. But I just think it's a really nice, well-realized, almost like expanded, version of that. That satire mockumentary world that Taika Waititi created with his film. Because, you get more episodes, so you kind of get to see these characters, dealing with more mundane, awkward situations sometimes than the movie had the runtime for. So it's a lot of fun. I think the actors are all really, really entertaining. They have a good chemistry with each other. It's just addicting. It's hard. It'd be a really good show to binge watch if it was really available like that anywhere. No complaints about that show. I can't wait to watch more of it. So What We Do in the Shadows is pretty much on the list, and kind of kick off the main few of the list, I guess. I do want to talk about Van Helsing season 4 on Sci-Fi. And if you guys know my channel, Van Helsing has been one of the main staples of my channel ever since it started, season 1, episode 1. I can't say enough good things about the cast and crew of this show. They have been nothing but kind to me. I think they're some of the most interactive people on social media to their fans. I had the great chance to interview Roland, who played Scab on the show. And Alex Panovic, I've been able to talk to him as well. A lot of really nice, good writers and such. Kelly Overton, who plays Vanessa, our lead character on it. I think she is the greatest lead currently on TV, for me. Or at least, one of the very best for sure. I have been waiting, year to year to put it at number 1 for the year, but I couldn't quite do it this year, and it kind of fell a few notches for me. Now I have faith because I do have a 5th and final season coming up in the fall of 2020, and I'm hoping I can at least give it the number 1 spot for its final season. I do have faith with what they're going to do in the last season. But unfortunately, this is kind of circumstances that can prevent, of course, our lead actress, Kelly Overton. She was pregnant, so they kind of had to write around her, kind of lessen screen time. They kind of had to space out the episodes with her. And some of the focus shifted not to some of the more original characters, but to kind of these newer, younger characters that were introduced in the 4th season, and kind of varying strengths, at least for me, in terms of how interesting they were. So, it just, they couldn't prevent what was going on with Kelly Overton, but it did kind of weaken my interest in the show a bit this year. Just some focuses on story directions I don't think quite fit with the way the rest of the narrative had been told in the previous 3 seasons. I don't know. It's hard to describe without going into, exact details, but I don't want to completely spoil a show if you guys haven't seen it either. And I still do recommend you watch Van Helsing. The first 3 seasons are on Netflix. Season 3 has been the best so far, so I do encourage you to watch it. But yeah, I'm happy it's getting a full run at least. But season 4, unfortunately, was my least favorite. So as much as I want to put it higher, I just couldn't this year. But still, even my least favorite season of Van Helsing is still better than a good majority of shows on TV currently. So that's still good. And then we're getting into number 3, I think it is. Or yeah, number 4. Yeah, excuse me. Yep, okay. Just again with those late editions, I kind of screwed up different, points where I updated the list and such. But anyway, next up, we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones. And yes, Game of Thrones, they had their 8th and final season this past year. And, to varying successes, I definitely had my issues with it. I didn't really care for how the Night King story capped off. The ultimate kind of end point with the Night King I thought was surprising, but ultimately unsatisfying. I wanted kind of more of a moment with him and Kit Harington's character Jon Snow. And I do think the season was a bit rushed. I don't think there were any false story endpoints or directions necessarily, but I'm with kind of the camp that might have needed at least another season, to kind of let these things simmer a little bit more before kind of jamming it into the last 2 or 3 episodes. But I don't think it was terrible. Still probably the highest production value of any show on TV. And not just that either. I mean, there's still great acting. Even though the stories were rushed, the actors really gave it their all. From Kit Harington to Emilia Clarke, Jorah Mormont played by Ian Glenn, Peter Dinklage, obviously, Lena Headey, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau, and how great was the Clegane Bowl? I mean, Rory McCann, we can finally get to see the Hound in the Mountain. That was executed flawlessly, and you cannot debate me on that. That was incredible. The Hound being one of my 2 or 3 favorite characters is still, if that was all we got, if that was the only good thing about the season, I still would have been pretty happy. And nonetheless, despite its flaws and kind of rushed imperfections, my fiance and I were still almost pretty much more engaged with what they're going to do in Game of Thrones than any other show this year. So I think that's still a huge compliment. And it's still going to go down as one of the greatest TV shows of all time, or at least it should. So yeah, and then next up we're going to be talking about Stranger Things Season 3. And in my opinion, the most fun, but also maybe the most emotionally heavy season of the show, perhaps. We have that new mall setting introduced, which just fit perfectly into the vibe of the Stranger Things series. Probably the funniest season of the show, I guess. The cast chemistry is even more on point, just like the vibe of it was a little bit more lighthearted, at least for a while. You sort of have that KGB Terminator Russian coming after Hopper and the others. David Harbour. It's great as ever as the sheriff and everything. Millie Bobby Brown more on her own than ever. And the season finale, it made me cry, I'll just say that. Stranger Things Season 3 really gave me everything I've gotten to love about the show, and I can't wait for Season 4, hopefully this year, right? I think. Stranger Things Season 3 I really loved a lot. And I'm trying not to make this video go on for 25 minutes or half an hour, so that's why it might be a little more brief at certain points. But yeah, Stranger Things Season 3, really, really enjoyed that. And then number 2 is going to be something I almost forgot aired this year because it was released pretty early on. I think it was released January 18th, and that is The Punisher Season 2, also on Netflix. What can I say about that? John Bernthal, he's been one of my favorite actors for years, guys, since The Walking Dead, Season 1 aired. And I've checked out as much of his work as I could since. He's one of the only people that I've been dying to meet that I haven't yet. With my conventions and everything, I still hope I get a chance within the next few years anyway. I think I think he could be very well the best pure actor working today in terms of his raw emotion, his his ability to channel his rage, but his depth as well. I do think I actually preferred The Punisher Season 1 to Season 2, but just John Bernthal's performance by itself pretty much beats out anything on this list, and I almost put it at number 1 just for that alone. John Bernthal is again great, and still good performances all around. But I just think season 2, it didn't feel quite as focused as season 1 for me, and it didn't have an episode on the level of Home, which was episode 12 of season 1. But that was just kind of different points in the story, so I don't know, it would have been hard to reach the heights of that episode again. I'm just given the context of, what we see in that episode, if you guys know what I mean, but still, I did really like season 2, really, really nice, brutal fight scenes, and still felt like natural progression for the character. And yeah, I'm going to say what's been said a million times, I don't know what the fuck happened with, Netflix and Disney and their deal, but we lost great shows, especially with The Punisher and Daredevil. And it's a damn shame. And whatever happened, whosever fault it was, it's a damn shame that we lost great shows and I didn't see the complete full arcs for these versions of the characters, which are probably the best ever put to screen. I mean, I still have a soft spot for the Tom Jane Punisher, as you can see. Bernthal did incredible work, and it's just terrible. They're not going to be able to see more of it, as far as we know. But yeah, never say never, but it's good not to completely count on it either. I guess I don't know, but I still really love the Punisher season 2. The priest or the Pope or whatever, I forget what his name was in the moment, but pretty decent villain. So villain. But anyway, and my number 1 of the year in that case is going to be, yes, the only show you haven't seen me talk about that was in the thumbnail, and that is Lucifer season 4. A new Netflix original, you could say, after Fox canceled it. Shocker. Netflix thankfully saved it, and we got our Netflix 10 episodes of the show, and it was just a ball, man. I mean, I was kind of still catching up on the show in season 2, and at the beginning of season 2, and it was canceled, and I was like, oh, come on. I already kind of like this show, but then I just kind of sped through season 2. I really enjoyed it. Season 3 was a little bit overly long with, like 26 episodes, but I still really loved it. And season 4, in some ways, was probably its best so far. Obviously, the tightest pacing with only being 10 episodes. It's just amazing what a total package Lucifer is as a series. I mean, it's gotten funnier and funnier with every season, yet the stakes have felt more real and present, and then just the acting and the storytelling, it's really gone above and beyond, I think, what people initially, kind of felt from the show. And season 4, it really leads us into a great 5th and final season, coming out at some point later this year, still no date on that. I also had the pleasure of meeting Tom Ellis back in August in Detroit, I think it was. It was in Detroit, I forget what month it was for some reason, at Motor City Comic Con. Tom Ellis was very kind to me, despite being, tired for going to that kind of thing. Really nice guy, and Lucifer is just a total package for the show. Funny. You really get invested in the characters, and it's just, I think, something special. So yeah, my number 1 show of the year is Lucifer. Yes. Let me know what your guys' top shows of the year were, and I'll catch you guys next time. And peace.